the commercial industry is going to heavily impacted by this technology because brands are always looking for reduce the costs and the production lead time. And especially for my line of work, it's all about setting the stage, prop styling, so I can see how generative AI will play a major role to kind of changing the setups, to reduce waste, starting generating the background image, and to create a product placement holder in the scene. Because traditionally you'll have to buy all these different props, you have to go to different locations if the set needs to require in the bars or kitchens or certain environments, and then you have to rent a studio, create all these setup. Personally, I always suggest people to not or brands to not name names in your text prompt, to not use reference image that you don't have rights to or consent to.
You are listening to AI Insights San Francisco by Roan Weigert.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this new AI Inside San Francisco episode. Today, I'm with Claire. Claire is on the intersection between creativity and technology, and we're going to be talking about photography, videography, and the world of creativity and AI. Claire, thank you so much for being here today.
I'm glad to be here.
Claire, I know they have been building ecosystem at the intersection of AI and creativity, helping both creators and global brands like Sephora to adopt AI. That's incredible. I want to hear what kind of projects you're working on and which ones makes you more excited.
Yeah, currently I'm working on two different projects. One is with my full-time job at Wonder Studio. We're creating a Beyond the Loop, a Wonder original anthologies for 5 parts of AI short films, partnering with different AI filmmakers and studios, leveraging the power of generative AI. And another project I'm working on is 11 Labs Chroma Awards AI film competition, AI film music game competition.
That's very cool. I want to know a little bit about your background and where did you grow up? When did you move to the United States? Just for people to understand where you're coming from and understand a little bit of your background.
Yeah, so I grew up in China and from a small city inside of Inner Mongolia that's next to Mongolia. So sometimes people get confused about where I'm from because the place is called Inner Mongolia. But I'm also, fun fact, quarter of Mongolian. So I moved here 14 years ago for school and I studied marketing fashion. However, because in San Francisco, so it's such a tech world and there is not a whole lot of fashion going on. So I kind of pivoted into events, product photographies, and set designs. So then I started a company 2022, Moodlier, to kind of educate creators how to do branding, photography, videography by partnering with different top creators and teaching these courses. And I had a physical collection that's the set pieces. Fast forward to 2022. When I first came to generative AI and I realized the commercial industry is going to heavily impacted by this technology because brands are always looking for reduce the costs and the production lead time. And especially for my line of work, it's all about setting the stage, prop styling, so I can see how generative AI will play a major role to kind of changing the setups, to reduce waste, still produce high quality content, but with a short period of time.
I noticed that you come from a very traditional background, photography. I did that too. I come from the videography, actually software engineer first, and then move for videography for passion.
Yeah.
And before coming here to the United States, I didn't know that there's going to be this big AI wave. So when I got here, needed my MBA and my master's in data analytics, I there was the explosion of ChatGPT, the models, and then all this transformation. And I see this transformation has been changing the game For sure. And that's what I was kind of expecting to come here for San Francisco specifically. I want to come here to work on tech and building products on top of video production for the production. That was the reason for me to choose to be here in San Francisco. So then when you tell me that you also notice this shift, is something that I can understand. Now, what do you see the most impactful towards, because I'm more towards videography background. I understand from you, when you start to notice this big shift when the AI has been introduced to the photography?
Yeah, the big shift, I think when I started, that's when it first all gets started. And then the reason I picked experimenting on product photography is because that's my background and I have a big audience. Well, good amount of audience and the community around that topic. So I started sort of a newsletter and a camp called Cash Camp that's focused on AI-driven, creating a unique AI-driven product images using the technology. And those are initiatives I created because I want to keep myself in the loop, updated, and continue learning on this journey. But at the same time, keeping all my audience community in the loop, because I realize if we don't keep on self-educating ourselves as a creative community, we're in the risk of letting the tech company and the tech bros dictating our creative future. So, and then I started doing these and started educating myself, therefore keeping everybody else in the same journey as I grow.
Very interesting that you mentioned about building community and learning. When was the moment that you start to create this community, and did your community was grown before towards traditional and then transform to the more
100%.
AI driven? How was the feeling of the people has been doing this? Because we have sometimes I speak to some people, they get very excited about AI, but people don't get too much excited because some jobs might be taking. So how you felt this transition?
Totally. When I first started posting and experimenting, right, like the socials on my newsletters, and I think there were a lot of people who are not coming from, who are very experienced in product photography. Those are like the worst comment I'm getting, because they will say, oh, why don't you hire real artists and creative on this project? But then like the people who actually are very educated, happen to be my friends who are really good product photographers. They actually are big support of my journey, and because they know where this is going and they understand the traditional craft, so they don't have a lot of these misconceptions like the people who are not domain experts. So that's where I realized, and when I first started. Sorry, I feel like I'm not answering the questions.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So it's okay.
And then I think fast forward to now, late 2023 is when I started my bootcamp, but then early 2024, that's where I realized there were a lot of signups from major brands, top agencies, even auction houses wanted to learn how to integrating generative AI image into their product workflows.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what do you see the most? What kind of actions you can do? Because I'm exploring a little bit about the photography aspect. Mm-hmm. What things you can do using AI for the product photography?
Yeah.
So I know you can fix things. You can create image to videos. You can add environment based on the photo that you have. What is the most common use case that have been seen, they have been testing, and things that they have been good doing commercial results? For
sure. I would say product placement. So simple as one product placement. I would say multiple product placements are harder. And if you do pure product photography with no human interaction with the product, that's the easiest one. Think a glass of a drink or a can of a drink in some sort of a setup with props, florals, arrangements. And that's the sort of your easiest way to integrating a product into a AI-generated background. Traditionally, when I teach my students, my workflow was sort of how I managed to get the best results is actually first starting generating the background image and to create a product placement holder in the scene. So I will use a prompt like a editorial photo shoot of a glass of whiskey, a bottle of Hennessy, sitting on the marble countertop, and I will describe this, scenes and the props and then the environment and the color palette and the light, that kind of structure. And then I will generating a product photography with a fake bottle of the product. And then based on that, I will kind of mimic the lights. I will see where the light source is coming from. And I will take my product and I'll actually shoot my product with mimicking the lights and the settings and perspective angles of the product in my generated image. And then from there, I will do some image enhancement of my background. And then the last step, I will always end it in Photoshop, basically blending the actual photograph of the product into AI generated scenery. Although that could be a little bit challenging for people who are not necessarily Photoshop pros, because it's a lot of image editing works. Some people are not really loving that. But because with generative AI, right, even with inside of Photoshop, we have generative fields, we have easy subject removal tools, selection tools, bunch of other integration within Photoshop. So now that process itself has gone so much easier. And recently they released harmonization feature, which you can just pop into the product photo you shot where you have, and they will harmonize the lights for you, so you don't have to start from scratch to changing, adjusting the image. So that's sort of like the workflow I have been teaching, and have shown the best results. However, sometimes you can do with existing product photo and try to match your sort of like a reverse way, match your AI generated image with your existing photo lights and perspective. But those are the two ways I have tried.
There's like $1 million workflow right there.
Yeah, I can actually, in the post, we can put, I will grab a screenshot of my workflow so you can show the audience.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So one thing that you mentioned about a very creative workflow, how to use different tools for get different results. But now if you're comparing to the traditional way and for this new traditional way to do photography and to the scenery, what we see the differences is about time, so it's faster to produce. Is about costs, because you need to have less hours of Photoshop, technical hours, or even scenario hours or studio hours. What is the most impactful, measurable aspects that you see between traditional and AI enhancement product photography?
Yeah, I think definitely costs. Because traditionally you'll have to buy all these different props, you have to go to different locations. If the set needs to require in the bars or kitchens or, certain, environments, and then you have to like rent a studio, like create all these setup, or go into those like specific locations such like coffee shop or whatever. And if it's more of like lifestyle shot, then you will have to hire models, and that's also another cost. And when you hire models, there's a wardrobe, there's hair and makeup, and there's producers. All of a sudden, you need to have this whole crew of productions. So those are very costly as well. And also the time of creating something could be very different now with more AI enhanced or AI driven approaches, or the hybrid method of AI approach, compared to traditionally fully traditional way to do the productions. Yeah, so I would say two things: cost and time. Yeah.
Now it makes me curious about one aspect about personalization, because imagine that you need to do this every time. I would say you need to go there and create this whole scenario for this specific photo shoot. But now, since you have, I would say, a workflow, a prompt, they already have define things. It can easily change the colors, easily change the background. How do you able to deliver personalized content for an ad or for could be for an ad, for let's say for an ad or for a post, because different people would react different, or even you would do a A/B testing, running ads, and now it's easier. So how do you see this use of AI for personalization marketing?
I think that is definitely coming, and then that's a lot of those big companies trying to figure it out, like Amazon and Meta. How do we use generative AI to personalize our ads feeds? So you and I being sold the same product, but with different content that's catered based on our preferred way to consume the media. So that's definitely the future we're headed to. But I don't think anybody, excuse me, or any company has a fully productionized that pipeline. It's still a bit challenging to do that, as far as I know. But I do think that is definitely a future that we're heading to.
And now you mentioned about big companies. I know they have been working with Sephora and other big companies in our big marketing team that are using AI. How those companies have been using, or if you have any projects that you can share about what you have been building with them. Yeah,
I think the last 2 years, or even just last year, 2024, I've seen a lot of agencies or brands are reaching out, and they all internally trying to figure out the pipeline that could scale. So I have seen brands who has a little bit more sort of a tech support, and they would go to something called like Comfy UI, and they will set up their Comfy UI workflow customized and create this whole flow and to specifically solve a use case of their brand. Because we have to think about, even just under the ads, there are so many different type of product, and each product requires a different workflow, because doing fashion on model like virtual try-on is very different than shooting a product with label texts on the product. You're solving different challenges between different type of product. So I would say brands are definitely started looking into it more since last year, I've noticed. And there are specifically brands like Mango, H&M, a lot of other larger retail brands that have testing out a generative way to help them with production campaigns. I remember Mango probably launched their campaign last year. It wasn't like as creatively impressive, but technically it was kind of impressive. They were able to manage to launch a whole collection of clothing with a fully AI generated model and wearing clothes that looks accurate. And then we have Coca-Cola last year, December, 6 different production team producing Coca-Cola ads that's fully AI generated. I think that was sort of like a pivotal moment of industry. Then from there, I think I've seen a lot of brands are willing to try, or at least start having this conversation. How can we use AI to generate ads and commercials?
Yeah, because I started to notice this. On my video production company that I have in Brazil, I start to receive a lot of increase of companies. I would say now is around 60%. But we start using AI on the video production since I think 2021 with Synthesia. So we are doing their training videos and training videos for internal companies, external companies, using those training videos for AI. And start advertise by then. We have, like I would say, every 2 months we have one inquiry about creating content like this. We got a few projects like this.
This was last year?
That was like back 2021, 2022.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was using Synthesia there and other tools. And then right now, I think 60% of the increase they receive, around 5 to 7 increase per week, they're coming asking for AI projects.
Yeah.
So like, hey, I have this location, I have those photos, can you make an AI video out of this? They are mainly, I feel that there's 2 things they're looking for. The first thing thing they're looking for is reduce costs because they don't want to pay the full team to go there. And the second thing is they want to do something that's outside the box. So they want to do something that is outside the conventional marketing.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the way that you couldn't possibly use the traditional way to create that kind of ads.
So they show like some examples like, hey, can you do this using AI? So then give you some examples like, yes, it's possible.
Yeah.
And then we have been using different aspects and different tools to get different results. I think one very interesting use case that we used recently was around 6 months project we got there was they want to do a course about how you can about getting your first driver's license. So they want to do something dynamic. So they didn't care about the price, but they care about, since they're going to be the leading on the market for that specific course. So they want to do something different, not the conventional one.
Yeah.
So we have the actor, the main actor, the real actor, have actor like male and female. So there's 2 of them looking at the camera and record the video. And we use tools, and then we use Midjourney to create avatars. So have 4 avatars. So one is a mechanic, another one's a judge, another one's a police officer, another one is she's a doctor.
Yeah.
So have different personas there, and we use Runway to do with Act 1 to track the face.
Yes.
And then we use real actors to talk. So then they have interaction between the real actors and the avatar actors that has actually real actors talking to each other. So it was a big project. It was around, I think, 10 hours.
So you use both the AI-generated avatars and the real actors to interact with each other?
To interact. But
Very interesting.
The avatars were using actors behind it. Because
so that was the Runway Act 1 or Act 2.
Yeah. So we tested using 100% avatars. Still not there yet.
Yes.
Because we want some specific facial expressions like no, yes, So we want to have that specific, and also the voice is more fluid, and we want to have some little mistakes here and there to make the content more, not mistakes, but make more personalized and bring some accent as well. So that's how we're using. But every time something did it wrong, so then using Level Labs to like clone their voice and fix it, and then just put something on top, and it works very well.
Totally.
So we didn't need to record anything
repeat.
At all.
Yeah. Wow, that's such a good workflow.
So with real actors, but very hyper personalized content, and now they're gonna launch it very soon. So we're very excited to see the results.
Yeah, you have to share with me. I'm curious too.
I'm gonna share. It's very nice. Very nice. I cannot share yet because
but then once they
because they're gonna change the law. So right now, for you to take your driver's license there, you need to go to actual the driving school and take the lessons in person. So they're going to change the law there. So then courses like this going to be, you can do online now. So you don't need to do in person.
Okay.
So courses like this going to be very, very, very interesting. So we see a lot of lawsuits going on with, let's say, Disney and Midjourney and all those back and forth, how companies are training their models to using that. And sometimes we don't know under the hood of those tools.
Right.
And then we're using it without even knowing and push it live. How we can balance this ethical aspect with the like, be able to continue producing things because you're not going to read all the terms and conditions, and also you don't know how the models are trained.
Right. So I think that is such a great question, and that I have always been kind of sort of shifting the narrative by not focusing on how the models developed, but more so on like how we as end users or brands are adopting these tools responsibly and setting a sort of a set of guidelines of how we can practice, responsible usage or use it as much as ethical as it can be. So personally, I always suggest to people to not, or brands to not name names in your text prompt, to not use a reference image that you don't have rights to or consent to. And then always keep the human in the loop practice and always attribute it to individual creator who's resulting that output, because we still need a human to utilizing these tools. So you can always find a way to trace back or build a system, trace back exactly who's, credit or who's attributing in what. So those are sort of the practice I have been kind of advocating for, even though, nobody really know exactly what fair use at this point means for training side of training data side of purposes and how we develop these models, because all the legal lawsuits are still going on. There isn't really clear laws set in stone to help us understand what we can do. So I want to encourage people to, as people who are adopting the technology, like you said, we can't just stop not using anything, because we do need to adopt. From that perspective, I encourage people to adopt the technology, use the technology responsibly, focusing on that.
So whenever I'm asking for create a Disney and Pixar character, I cannot use it then. Yeah, because sometimes I do like transform images into like Pixar characters. So then how can I adapt to don't put names into places but get the outcome I'm looking for?
Right. So you can, the quicker way to kind of work around it is, instead of saying in what movie, what character, and then just describe the type of style you want or describe the type of character, instead of specifically calling it, you want Harry Potter. Yeah, like Harry Potter from the Harry Potter movie. And then that is wrong, because you're directly using somebody else's IP in a direct way. But if you want something looks like a Harry Potter, but maybe like you can describe a little kid wearing like glasses, something that's a similar, but it's not directly using somebody's IP.
For being here in San Francisco, I think it's very important to build this community and be here in San Francisco. I think it was last year. We were in the same event for the free pick, one like many events of free pick, and I was using a tool to I sent the image of the product, and I forgot the name of the tool. I need to check it. I'm going to put it here. So I put the product, the regular for the product, and then get like a nice background that I was using for a project for a client. And as testing, it was very good. The clients love it. And it was just like to add on their video, like on their Instagram reel. So they send me the photo and then I enhance with AI. And the interesting thing is on this free pick event, the person sitting next to me, she was the CEO of the tool. So I think it is very interesting for us to be... Magnific.
Is a photo enhancement tool?
No, I think it starts with K. I forgot.
Okay.
I'm gonna search it. Yeah, because I want to do a podcast with her.
Yeah. What does that tool do?
So you can remove the background of the image, and also you can add like backgrounds. So you choose, there's different backgrounds. You can choose it.
I see. Okay.
I will check it and
okay.
Clean. I don't know. I need to say it. And that's why I like here to be here on the environment in San Francisco, because people are building things fast here. And then you go to those events, interact. How do you feel to be here in San Francisco and be talking to people, be presenting, be sharing things?
I mean, I think this is a time to be in San Francisco, right? Like there's so many events happening, hackathons, and everybody is so brilliant who are very builder mindset, and just you constantly surrounded by these talented people. You get inspired, motivated. However, I do feel like in the niche I am doing, the intersection of creativity and AI, that it's a little bit hard in SF. I think you and I both know SF are very heavy on B2B SaaS, LLM, agentic workflow, not a lot of sort of a creative company, although they are actually, like, if I'm name names, Luma Labs is here and we have Pika.
I use a lot.
We have Midjourney. We have a lot of that, but just like sort of ratio-wise, there's more LLM heavy builders than the visual image and video gen set of builders. And there are not a lot of creatives and creators compared to LA or New York. So I do feel like as a creative person, I sometimes have a responsibility for learning what is happening in Bay Area, San Francisco, and kind of be the sort of a bridge and the gap closer between the tech and the creative community. So that's why I start newsletters and I start these camps to train the creatives on how to utilize these techs.
Now that you mentioned about the creators, for the creators that are starting right now, what do you recommend them to build a portfolio, or what is the easiest way they can start doing things and putting out to the world so people that can enter into this market?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to get started is to focus on your own niche and domain expertise. Where, for example, my background was on product photography, and then my community is on that. So I started exploring and experimenting on that lane, and because that's where I have the most knowledge, and I know what's good and what's not good. I know what brand is looking for when they're creating brand images. So I recommend where build a portfolio in your existing domain expertise, because that will guarantee you to have the highest quality and results when you're using AI. And I would say experimenting with different tools and figure out what is your best workflows, because everybody's workflows is very different, depends on what use cases you're solving. Like I mentioned, if product photography is going to be different than virtual try-ons. So kind of really experimenting with the tools for your use case and create a diversified portfolio on top of that.
I want to go over the projects that you're working for promoting the AI film festivals, and I want to understand what you're doing right now and which one that is happening soon, so then we can really share with the community.
Yes, which you will chat with Maddie Shmura next, and he's going to tell you all about it. For Chroma Awards, that's the AI film, music, game competition, and it's happening now. You can actually sign up on chromaawards.com. Just go to that website URL, and you'll be able to sign up. And the submission opens on September 1st, and that's where we're going to release all the free credits from all the different tools we're partnering with Dreamina, CapCut, Vel, Kling, Minimax, like you name it. Basically, all the cutting-edge AI tools are going to be partners, and they're going to give you some free credits for you to run, and you can create AI short films in different categories. We have narrative, commercial advertisement, we have music videos, documentary. There's so many different categories you can enter.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. You should do one, actually.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. I love it. Can you name one tool you'd keep if all other vanish?
ChatGPT hands down, because it got everything that you can create images, you can create videos, and it's natural language based conversations, and it understands the context. It has the memory, so it's definitely ChatGPT. I know it's like kind of boring, but it's the truth.
I cannot pass a day without it.
No, even with this interview, it's like I bounced the idea of like, oh, what should I focus on talking answer these questions? Yeah.
So is that a prompt pattern that you trust for product or lifestyle shoots?
Couple different structures, but if you wanted the bare minimum one, I would say subject, environment, and light. But if you want a more detailed one for product photography, I would say what I call it the style, the category of the style and subject, and your supporting subject and props, environment descriptions, and then you can do your light, color palettes, etc., etc. So there are different ones you can do, but the main point is you want to start your text prompt with considering what type of category this is. Is this a editorial photography? Is this lifestyle? Or is this like animation or illustration? You want to start with that, and then you want to talk about your main subject. Is it two characters talking to each other, or is it a cup of water sitting in front of your marble counter? And then from there, you want to talk about what are the environment elements there, your props, your sets, background, surface, and then you can talk about the color palette and the light and the mood. Yeah.
Cool. And what is the most overrated trend in AI imagery right now?
Cyberpunk.
Really?
Yeah, I just personally not a huge fan of cyberpunk. I feel like it's such an overly used term since 2022. Everything's cyberpunk. I feel like it's just nerds who doesn't know other stuff, and then they've always used cyberpunk
As a default, yeah.
Yes, default. Yeah, totally.
And one legal or ethical check before ship any AI visuals.
That's a good one. I think the most obvious one is obviously don't use artists' names in it that you don't have permission to, and don't reference images from artists you don't have consent or permission, or you don't own the IP rights to. Those are, if you keep in mind with those two things, I think you won't end up getting some images that's like a deep fake of some celebrities or in the extremely similar style of existing work.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to discuss or present?
Yeah, no. I actually want to talk about what you told me about this whole thing that you said you're getting like 6-7 inquiries every week on the AI, sort of a 70% is the AI video requests. But you didn't share one of the reasons because you accidentally created 100 blog posts in this area of topics. That's why you're generating a lot of inquiry for these specific needs. Do you want to like share a little bit of that? Because I think it's quite Is it? I think it should be shared because it's really interesting about you is you're such a rare breed combination of both technical, analytical on the data set and ML side, but now you're also a videographer who's very creative and talented. But I feel like your core pillar is being a technical person. And then that you, only you can accidentally create like 100 blog posts and then that went viral. Can you just walk us through a little bit of like what that looked like and how a non-technical person who also want to have like results with their SEOs, how can they like set it up? Where do they start? Where should look, or do you have a blog post about how you accidentally created 100 blog posts and then went viral?
Well, thank you. No, so how I end up doing this because I want to automate some of the content production. I was trying to do this for LinkedIn and for Instagram to create post ideas, and then that was a tutorial saying how we can create one blog post doing and using make.com to get the results. So then I did some keyword analysis to get what the best keywords are people are searching right now on Google or ChatGPT. So I get all that list, and then I have a list I think like 300, 400 words, keywords, and also questions. So I have that spreadsheet. And then I made a workflow how to make a simple blog post. So then there's some prompts that you can build that.
Of course.
And then I was like, okay. And then I was able to post one thing. But it was like, there's no image. So then I add some more notes there to create an image related to that post. And I was okay, so I want to add some videos and some other content insights. And I keep putting things there. And then there's an option for you to like run this loop. And then I just I put like 10 and then works, and then I put like 100 and then I was like, I just leave the pipeline there. When I saw I have like more than 100 blog posts there.
Wow.
And I post all that, and then I realized I start to see and check on Google Analytics, people are checking that. the content was not great. So then I sent it for a freelancer to go there, review
Edit it.
all the
Yeah.
content and see if there's any mistakes, because there's a lot of mistakes. There was like some videos that not like random videos on the middle of the post that was not supposed to be there. And then they fix it, they add some content, and then make the content actual, the top performers ones, they make it good.
Yes.
So then you see which ones perform better. So then you start to work best on
Yes.
that ones.
Yes.
And yeah.
That's such a sort of like, I can see you live in SF, and that's such like SF builder mentality. Let's just put out so many different iterations and see which one works, and let's fix it up. So it's like that tight sort of a ship fast and iterating based on the feedback, and then you keep on doing this loop and until you really refine the craft. And then I really see that in you, but with your creative work as well, which I think makes you a very unique individual.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
All right.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you come here, share the knowledge, build the community as we are doing here in San Francisco, and actually met on the working together the
Yes.
AI collective, and for now more than a year.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure, and it's lovely meeting you back in 2024. And you've done so much work for the community, and I can't wait. What are you doing for the next?
Yes, let's make it happen. All right. And thank you guys for checking our content, and I see you in the next episode.